Hey, welcome back to another episode of A Warrior Spirit, where we let the inner warrior out to the light. Today, I have the pleasure of another international superstar, Imke Kauta. She's a mom, first and foremost, wife, but she's also a magnificent photographer and also a light worker and energy healer. So I appreciate you joining me. I know it's a day later than here, so thank you for joining me from the future. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Morena, good morning. Kia ora, guten morgen. Buenos dias, buongiorno.
Yeah.
Really,
How many
really
languages
nice.
do you speak?
Three-ish. Like I know a little bit here and there, but yeah.
So German.
German and English fluently, and I'm currently learning Te Reo Maori.
What nation is that?
That is in New Zealand, the one of
Oh,
the national languages.
okay. Well, again, I appreciate you, and I've known you for about 3 years now. We met through another community, and it's just been wonderful to see you blossom, and I'm just thrilled to have you here today. You are the youngest of four, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you grew up in Germany, correct?
Yes, I did.
So what was that like as a child? Did you always know you were kind of an energy healer or light worker?
I was always the emotional one, the one that would take everything personal. But I also felt that a lot of people would tell me their secrets, and like I was from the get-go a space holder, and a lot of people would say things like, I've never told someone this, but I'm going to tell you. And yeah, I would suggest I'm a very trustworthy person. I'm very open-minded, non-judgmental, and just a good space for you to have someone to listen to you without being attached to the outcome, and yeah, just listening without having to answer back or giving advice, and just sometimes, yeah, creating that safe space to express yourself freely.
So how did that play in the family dynamics? Was the rest of your family like that, or were you kind of different?
I would say I was a little bit different. They're all amazing people, but definitely not as in tune or not intuitive like me. Like I would, yeah, definitely say they're all beautiful souls, but on a different path than me for sure.
So how did that play as a family dynamic? Were you like close with your siblings? Were you not close? Was it?
Yeah, we're all very close. We had very open conversation. I'm very blessed to have two beautiful parents who, yeah, preached about open communication, open-mindedness, and yeah, just overall a very empowered environment.
So that's, as you know, from family dynamics, not everyone gets blessed with that kind of family. So that's kind of refreshing to at least have open communication. You can kind of feel like you can be yourself. And, how about in school? Was it the same? Were your classmates and friends?
I was always different, and I kind of given up really quickly to fit in, because yeah, I love wearing yellow. I was very much the rainbow. Like there was a lot of my friends who were like into the emo scene, so they were like black literally from toe to top. So I was not fitting in, but I kind of was comfortable with the standing out and being different.
Nice. Well, when you graduated, then what prompted you to decide, let's go to New Zealand?
I really had heard so many beautiful things about New Zealand. I read some incredible books. I was very captivated. I love being in nature. I love not being around too many people in New Zealand. Yeah, as many of you know, there's more sheep than people here. So it's a really beautiful space to live and be. And my siblings have had a similar step in their life. So my oldest brother went to California. My sister went to New York for a year. My other brother went to the Philippines. So it was almost like the thing to do once you finish school, before you get into a job or before you start studying. You have to go see the world and get different experience.
And did you have a job in New Zealand when you first got there?
Yeah, so I was a nanny and au pair for 1 year for a beautiful family. They lived out in a winery, three beautiful children, and yeah, they very much taken me on as their family member, not as a worker. And I really, really enjoyed that time. I learned English while I was there. My English was very bad when I first got here. So it was really beautiful, because kids are the best teachers. They just tell you when you say something wrong, they correct you, they don't worry about you taking that personal. So it was a really beautiful way to, yeah, improve my English, but also to get to know the country, the people, the everything.
So how do you become an au pair? Do you just answer an ad in the paper and someone's.
There's quite a process to it. So you basically, applications, there's an online platform, you put all your details in. It's a little bit like dating, I guess. And then the agency basically matches you, and then you have some interviews. And yeah, I was really blessed to be with them for 12 months. And I would definitely say were a big part of my life. Like the youngest that I looked after was my flower girl at my wedding. Like it's a very special connection that we got to have.
Nice. Well, you were also blessed to meet your future husband, right?
Yes. So when I got to
husband?
New Zealand, I had no intentions to stay. I was very much, I'm here for the experience, here to improve my English, and yeah, love at first sight. I definitely liked him from the start. He was a very much the gentleman, the very kind, I was really intrigued to hear his story, to get to know him. And I was very naive, I would say, at that stage. I would be like, oh, I'm just going to go out at nighttime and take some photography in the middle of town. He was like, you can't just do that. You need someone to come with you. So he would come along and like be my protector, and it would just, feel really comfortable to have him around as my safety buddy. And a 6-month friendship. And then, eventually I realized, okay, there's a lot more than just friendship. It was funny because I sent my parents an email early on saying, oh, I met this guy, and told them a little bit about him. And my dad knew straight away from that first email that, okay, something's happening here. So I'm really, really blessed to have met him.
And you were 19 at the time, or 20?
Yes, 19. Yeah.
Okay. So did he know right away that you were the one?
I think so. He knew before I knew.
Yeah. And sometimes those guys, we do that,
Yes, he was very much the gentleman. We were friends for a long time before I realized that there was more.
Nice. And you've been together 9 years now?
Married for 9 years, so we got together in 2012. So it's 11 years knowing each other, 9 years married.
And how many children?
2.
Okay. And how old are they?
Almost 6 and 8.
Beautiful. Nice. So right now you're enjoying New Zealand. I know that you're getting ready to move. You had an interesting experience with an au pair of your own, didn't you, recently?
Yes, I did. Yeah. So as a mum living away from my own family, it's been a challenge. It's been definitely hard at times to not have the support. So I kind of thought, I'll give this au pair thing a go. And I thought we had the perfect match. She was with us for a month. My children loved her. I was really happy to have more capacity to take on clients for my photography work. My dream was to do birth photography, which you need someone 24/7 to be able to jump in. So that was my plan. And then one morning she said, I got a family that I would like to go to. I'm not happy here. And I was, very surprised, very disappointed, did not see that coming. I'm very much accommodating and made sure that she was comfortable. So that was a big surprise for me, and felt very disappointed, very let down. But what is meant to be is meant to be. And obviously that was not meant to be.
Well, I've seen some of your photography, and unlike, and I'm going to put it in air quotes, a traditional photographer, you specialize in the female body, and you also specialize in nature with the female body in all of its nature. And I've seen a ton of your photography on your website, and from what you post, it is all exquisite and all beautiful and all shapes and sizes. And you can tell from the expression on the women, you make every single one of them feel like they are the most beautiful goddess in the world. And so what made you get into specializing in nature?
So I have a deep connection to nature. I believe we all belong there. I think we all can recharge in nature. And I just love taking photos in natural light, first and foremost. I think it's a lot better than the fake light in studios. And woman empowerment for me is a really big passion of mine, because I can see, especially as a mum, a lot of my mum friends, they struggle accepting the body, how it has changed. And I'm very blessed that my mum was a very confident woman. She embraced the body that she had. There was a lot of nudity around my family. We went to saunas together. Like there was never a shame or have to hide anything. So when I came to New Zealand, I believe it's part of the culture almost to like hide and like go swimming with t-shirts. And I was like, what's going on here? And like, yeah, got to know a lot of beautiful people and had these conversations, and very quickly learned that there's a lot of shame around body, and that there's a need for empowerment. So like I said earlier, I'm very non-judgmental. I have a very open mind, and I do see people like they're beautiful no matter what shape or size they are. And I believe, yeah, my photography brings out the essence, the pureness, the unconditional love through those images. And being a space holder, I can create those safe spaces and give the woman a new perspective. And yeah, a lot of them say, I've never seen myself like this. Thank you for showing me like that perspective.
So because there's a lot of guilt and shame around the body, especially the female body, how do you go about expressing to them, this is the type of photography I do, this is why I do it, and this is how I'm going to help bring you out of your shell? Like, I can't imagine that they just run out into the woods and go, yay. I imagine that there's
Some do.
well, yes, I've seen those, but imagine that there's some dialogue there. So how do you, what's your, I don't want to say technique, but what's your
Process.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Not finding words.
So yes, some women run into the nature like they finally can be free, and some need not convincing, but just like the comfort to get to that space where they feel comfortable. So I create a space where I don't really talk about the body itself, but really we meditate, we go inwards, we talk about spirituality, we connect with the heart, remember like kind of like a higher self meditation, and then they remember they're so much more than their body, and that their body is literally just the vehicle to get their soul through life. So it's very much a remembrance from within, and then that shines through. And the more you accept your inner self, the more comfortable you also feel in your body. And I think a lot about body image is also just being seen by someone and being fully accepted as you are. That already like releases shame in itself, and being like seen for who you are, loved for who you are. And yeah, the non-judgmental from my side makes them feel safe, and just the energy that I hold is very open and loving.
Well, you even take some, and I don't know if you do it with all, maybe you do it with all, but I know that in some instances you even take it a step further where you also are unclothed while you're taking the photography to help bring ease to them. Do you do that with all the clients or just some?
That those photos that you're referring to, that was at a retreat, and was very much these retreats that we run, they specifically focus on the woman body, on empowerment, on releasing shame about the body, releasing that stigma that you have to look a certain way to be beautiful. And yeah, I do believe I'm very much an embodied version of that empowerment. I do feel very comfortable in my body, and I do think being comfortable in your body is giving other people permission to be like, okay, if she does this and that, and I don't have to, I almost feel like it's less awkward for me to take photos naked than it is to be close and take photos of people naked. I don't know what it is, but it just creates that equally, we're all the same, we're all one, there's no difference between you and me, we're just a human being, we all have a naked body underneath our clothes. And it just creates this normality.
Well, in your photography, you can actually feel the love and the support and the essence of the beauty of what you're creating. You do it so elegantly. It comes out in the photo itself. Some of these women do it for themselves. Some of them do it for their partner. What's the transformation you've seen in the women who have done this?
I think a lot of women take this experience away from them, and they, for example, they can go swimming and they don't have to hide in the changing room. They go home and they say, I feel more comfortable with my partner. Some messaged me later and said, I've made love in the bedroom with the lights on for the first time in how many years. So it's a huge impact that I make on women. And I think also like things in the photo shoot that I say to them, like close your eyes, breathe, feel your heartbeat, connect to the nature, feel the support of Mother Earth beneath you. Little tools like that, like connecting to your breath, they can take that with them when they feel overwhelmed or anxious. So yeah, breath work. There's a lot of holistic healing things that I bring into those photo shoots as well.
So aside from the photography, and I did see that you did start some birthing or underwater photography, you know, and now that you're moving, you know, you're kind of having to set that aside. But again, that was pretty cool. But along with the photography, what are some other modalities that you use to help with the energy work?
So I'm a very passionate cacao mama facilitator. So ceremonial cacao is a beautiful plant medicine. A lot of us know chocolate cacao or ceremonial cacao is the purest form of that. And I believe it's very heart opening medicine. It's a very beautiful tool to connect within, to experience true feelings, to open yourself up to emotions and the experience. So having cacao before a photo shoot is definitely, I can see the difference in the woman. They feel softer, they feel more open, they feel more in love with themselves. Another tool that I use is breath work. So I went to a breathwork facilitation retreat and I've learned different tools or different ways of breathwork. Different people need different things. I also do sound healing. So I got 3 sound chakra bowls, the root, the sacral, and the heart, very much the 3 centers I work around the most, being grounded, connecting to your womb space, and also, yeah, having an open heart. I'm trained in Reiki, I guide meditations. Yeah, there's a lot of things I do. I sometimes forget how many things there are, but I'm very, yeah, passionate to bring that into the photo shoot. So yes, I do women, I do boudoir and nature, I do couples, I've done engagements. Back in the day, I did family and weddings, but it's kind of, I don't think that's where my passion lies. Underwater is something that I will definitely get into more. And I have a huge passion for woman being pregnant, like growing a human being, celebrating that stage of their life. And combining that with underwater is definitely something that's very, very special. And you can see that in the photos, how passionate I am about this special way of capturing that moment in time as well.
So I'm married to an energy worker. She Reiki master, you know, intuitive, all that stuff as well. So I understand the power and the healing that's in all those. I'm not as familiar with the cacao. I have seen other people do cacao ceremonies, so I'm not really as familiar. I know that it's, you know, basically a chocolate plant, but how does that bring enlightenment to, or softness, as you said, to the person receiving this ceremony?
So there is a lot of science behind the cacao. It's got a lot of beautiful things in it. It's very much a superfood. It's got magnesium, it's got iron, it's got zinc. It's shown to be mood boosting, very much uplifting, awakening. So all the therapeutic benefits of this medicine, yeah, are very much, I always refer to it as, it's like melting barriers around your heart, and your heart definitely opening up to feel more, to be feeling more free and more empowered and, yeah, uplifted.
Nice. As a healer and a light worker, when did you first know? I know you said that you were always felt different and whatever, but when did you really like know that you're intuitive and have this energy healing, and like, when did you really embrace that?
I think about 3 years ago, I've met this beautiful soul, also a photographer, and she was talking about creating soul circles. And I was really intrigued and just felt like this strong nudge to look into this, create these spaces, and started joining her woman circles, started joining like a mentorship with her, and yeah, learned breath work and just experienced those things myself. So probably about 3 years ago, meeting this beautiful woman, being in circles with women, and just feeling the energy of being surrounded with those like-minded people.
So you're 30 now. So for 27 years, you just thought you were different, but now you're in a community where like, this is it, right?
Yes, very much feeling like a homecoming to, okay, I can be crazy and wild and witchy and people still love me for it. And it's, yeah, it's kind of the safety to express that, because I think back in the day, yes, I was wearing rainbow clothes and yes, I was comfortable to be different and the hippie, but there is like a new level of safety within my body, not just to express outwards, but to be within me, and like going into the shadow work and, yeah, doing a lot of inner work and knowing the tools to regulate my nervous system through the process and the journey.
So again, being married to someone in that realm, I know the dynamics from the male side, and how did it affect you and your husband, and what was his reaction when you were starting to embrace this new Imke?
I would say he's been married to a lot of different women within just in our one marriage. Like I've definitely at the start, I was like this naive little person that didn't know much about life. Like I was very young when we got married. Then we had children, so he had a very much full-time mother. I really struggled during the first few years of motherhood, so he had a depressive wife for some stage as well. He is amazing. He supported me through all of it, loved me through all of it. And when it started changing, I think he was really, his focus is whatever makes you happy. If this is what makes you happy, that's awesome. And himself, he's brought up very Christian. And I kind of just look at it, yes, whether you talk about the universe, whether you talk about spirits, or whether you talk about God, it's just different labels for the same thing. So even though he would be saying, I've prayed for this, I'm like, you manifested that, like it's the same, just different words. And yeah, I feel really lucky that he loves me through all the changes. And it's been really, really beautiful that he, can love me from here to there. And I feel like no matter who I'm becoming, he will be there.
That's awesome, and a great gift as well. Having grown up in a very religious half of my family and a very spiritual side of the other family, I always, for the uber religious side, I can point to the Bible and show them where what we are talking about is biblically related and the passage that says it. So it is just a different label for the same name and the same subject, just however you're comfortable saying it. And some of them open their eyes to like, oh my gosh, it is just a label. And some of them are like, it's still not whatever. So, you still walk that fine line. But anyone who wants to put religion into it, you can biblically show where the spiritual side is coming straight from the Bible passages, but labels are meant to be broken anyway.
Same, but different, I believe.
Yeah. And has it made, I know your husband is, loving you through all of it. Has it made your connection closer, and has he opened up and changed a little with your change?
I think his journey is just about to start. So we're currently in the stage of moving. He's basically, since we have had children, he's been working really, really hard, and he didn't have time to do inner work, to be honest. He's worked his most of the time and has been away working 12-hour long days. There was not much time for him to do any practices. But yeah, with his new job, with us moving into a different town, I feel there's a lot of things that will shift in a positive way for our relationship and for him.
Well, I think that's awesome when couples can grow together and, accept their differences, but still have a unity. That's a beautiful relationship for sure. So tell me what's next in your journey other than the move. What's next?
A huge part of my journey at the moment is writing a book. I think for me, that's a very healing process. I was mentioning earlier, so I had postnatal depression with my youngest and with my firstborn, and a lot of mum guilt. And I'm writing a book at the moment about mum guilt and how to transform and transmute that into love. So with all the tools that I'm learning, I want to write, a guide for other mums, because I know I'm definitely not the only one who's struggling with motherhood. I'm definitely not the only one who's got mum guilt in many different areas of motherhood. So I'm very excited to, get that book out into the public. My kind of time idea is that I'm writing in the next 12 months and hopefully finishing it before my son turns 7. That's a huge part, and I feel like it's very raw, very vulnerable, but also I know it's going to ripple and have a huge impact on those who read this book.
That's awesome. Do you have a working title?
Well, I'm still working on it. Something along the lines of transforming mum guilt into love.
Oh, very cool. And just out of curiosity, what type of things are you feeling guilty about as a mom?
I think a lot of the things that I felt guilty about is not being good enough, being tired, being angry. Like when I was depressed, I was definitely not there 100%. But I read something this morning that said, if you have 40% of energy and you gave 40% of your energy, you actually gave 100% to your children. And that quote hit me this morning. I was like, yes, this is exactly why we have to transform the guilt from, okay, I only had 40%, but actually I gave all of that to my children. So yeah, those kind of things. Guilt about my husband working so much and me being at home. Like, I think there was a lot of guilt around not contributing financially. Comparing yourself to other mums was a huge one, whether you, yeah, I had a home birth, I breastfeed, so I sometimes felt guilty for those mums who couldn't experience those beautiful things. I didn't want to feel better than them. I didn't want it to be like that, but it often, like, almost feeling guilty for having a good, yeah, even like a good upbringing, the support, or yeah, there's a lot of things. Like, that's why I'm writing a book. There's a lot of different facets you can get into.
And what's the number one tip that you would give someone listening to this who may be experiencing some of that?
Mums forget that self-love is the most important. So self-love, self-esteem, self-belief, being enough for yourself first and foremost, because if you love yourself, if you give to yourself, if you take care of yourself, then you are a better mum. And then eventually, if you happy within, then you also, that guilt will transmute.
That's awesome. When the interview airs, we'll drop some links so people can get a hold of you, and also check out your website and your photography. I know that, you know, they'd have to be in New Zealand for some of it, but it's worth the trip over there, right?
Absolutely.
I ask each of my guests as a parting question. You're part of my tribe as I am yours. What does a warrior spirit mean to you?
Not giving up when things get hard, knowing that sometimes you have to go through the caterpillar phase to dry your wings and then rise again.
That's awesome. And you know, whenever the caterpillar image comes up, people are often always comparing the butterfly, but they forget what it took to become the butterfly.
Exactly.
Total dissolving of another being, sitting in their darkness and transforming in an entire different entity. So if you want to go from caterpillar to butterfly, you have to be willing to sit in that darkness, dissolve everything you were, and reform into a new species. So yeah, I think you definitely need a warrior spirit to go through that. So
absolutely.
Is there any other parting words you'd like to share with the audience?
I'm just grateful that you had the time and energy to, yeah, listen to me talk. And if you are around, even if you're not in New Zealand, I would love to connect with you, even in the online space. And yeah, thank you for listening.
Well, we'll definitely drop your links. I know from the 3 years that you've been in my circle and I've been in yours, you're a beautiful light, and I love the work you're doing. It's so necessary out there, and I'm just so grateful to watch you blossom and step into the beautiful person that you are.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. Enjoy your day.
You too.
Bye.